Yo, what up guys, welcome back to Patched.
Welcome back.
Yes, and today we're going to be reviewing the Endgame gear XM1 RGB.
Ooh,
yes.
Okay. Now this is like kind of a loved mouse along the community. I mean, everybody really, no one really has much bad to say about this mouse. So they're just coming out with this RGB iteration,
Yes.
Which I mean is always well received. I mean, come on, it's RGB.
Yes, and this is the old version. Okay, this is the old XM1, and we actually gave it a very good review. And they did make some updates from this mouse, and it's awesome because Endgame Gear actually listens to their community.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, judging from just this update, you can tell that they actually listened to the feedback that they were given. So like in the old one, look at this wire.
A janky cord.
Yeah.
Come on.
And in the new one, you got a nice paracorded cable, and of course there are some nice RGB lights which we'll get into. So the XM1 RGB is going for $70. So if you guys do want to get it, we'll leave a link in the description box. But let's get it started off with the shape. So as far as the shape goes, they literally didn't change anything about the shape from the old model, and it's awesome. I actually really love it. So they specify that this mouse is optimized for claw grip users, and I would 100% agree with that. I don't use claw grip, I use fingertip grip. So when I'm playing, I only have my fingertips on the mouse. The bottom of my palm really never ever touches the mouse, you know? So but still, I have a medium-sized hand, and I really never had an issue with this shape.
What I would say is I'm not a claw grip user at all. Now I either fingertip or palm grip when I'm just, you know, browsing the desktop and things like that. But I just, with larger hands, I just could not get a comfortable grip on this thing for whatever reason. I see why people like it, and I can see how it would be comfortable for a lot of people. But after a couple days of using this thing as my daily driver, I just could not get used to the shape. I mean, I was still hitting shots and everything, but it's just
weird.
When I would flip back to one of my other mice, like the Hottie S or something like that, it's just like immediately more comfortable. It's like a sigh of relief, you know?
Yeah, and also look at how low profile this mouse is. Like, it's super low, especially where the mouse 1 and 2 buttons are. And I really like that about this mouse, because I prefer I prefer a lower, flatter shape when I'm fingertipping, you know? Like when you're just browsing the web and you're not gaming, it's not as comfortable, obviously, as like a more rounded shape like the G Pro Wireless. But you know, when I'm gaming, it's really not a problem at all. And just the shape here in the back is just so comfortable, where the bottom of my palm can just rest here. And yeah, so if you palm grip, obviously stay away from this mouse. If you fingertip grip or claw grip, it's a great mouse. But if you have a larger sized hand, you should probably watch out.
It's gonna be a little rough.
Exactly.
You can definitely get used to it. And if you have large hands and you're a claw grip user, you likely would not have any issues with this mouse. But I personally don't claw grip, and I can't really get used to it now. I'm so set in my ways, you know?
Yeah.
But that's just how it is.
Yeah, and also, like I said, I have a medium-sized hand, and when I palm grip it, my fingers pretty much go right to the edge of the mouse. So obviously, if you have a larger sized hand, yeah, your fingers will, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so there's the shape. As far as the cord goes, they're using a very nice paracord, and it really, look at this, guys.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's a tight weave on here, actually. It's not like super loose, but it's still very floppy. I don't know, like
you really never notice the wire unless it actually snags on something like the corner of your desk or something. So the wire is phenomenal. And as far as the clicks go, the clicks are incredible.
They're so good.
My favorite click in any mouse right now.
Odom.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So the click is very tactile. It's a very heavy click, and it feels like, I love it. I'm in love with it.
Yeah, with these switches that are on here, they're actually using these Kale switches instead of the Omrons that were in the original, and they feel so nice. Like there's literally like no post-travel. There's like a tiny bit of pre-travel, but it's either pressed down or it's not pressed down. There's no BS there.
Yes.
And they're super stable. They don't move left or right. There's no wobble like at all, unless you really force it, but I don't know why you would do that. but it feels really good. The switches on here are phenomenal.
And the KO switches on here are rated for 60 million clicks. It's a lot of clicks, guys. Yeah, so the mouse 1 and 2 are my favorite. The side buttons are also pretty nice. It definitely has a lot of pre-travel and post-travel, but you know, side buttons, it's not a huge deal.
Yeah, it's not terrible. I mean, it's something you don't want to accidentally press as well. Even though it's a low-profile mouse, they do a good job of making sure that your thumb isn't going to accidentally press it. Even if you are claw gripping this guy, your fingers are going to be right under it. So you won't have any issues with accidental presses or anything like that.
Yes, and going on like accidental presses, because the mouse 1 and 2 buttons don't have a lot of pre-travel, we did find ourselves like pressing the buttons pretty frequently on accident.
Very frustrating if you're trying to play sneaky.
Yeah, exactly. So just watch out for that. But the buttons on this are incredible. Moving on to the scroll wheel is pretty damn nice. You know, you have nice tactile steps. Also, the scroll wheel button is very weird. It's so easy to press on the XM1 RGB compared to the old one. Like, look at that. There's really no post travel. It's crazy. You just you click it and it just clicks. It's pretty crazy. So
it must be the RGB.
yeah, so just be careful on that. I did find myself accidentally clicking that as well when I was trying to scroll. So all right, as far as the skates go, that is also something that they changed from the old version. So as you guys can see, the old mouse had 4 skates on each corner of the mouse.
And they were like cornered off too. They were not rounded at all.
Yeah, very, very flat. The new one is rounded, and there's only 2 skates, one large one on the top and one large one on the bottom. They pretty much feel the same though.
Yeah, they feel almost identical, and these ones are also rounded, of course, and they're a little bit thicker, because that's one comment that we made on the original XM1, is that the skates they're like paper thin on this thing. And they're a lot thicker on this one, which we do appreciate for sure. And now one thing that's really notable that changed from the original XM1 to the XM1 RGB, and this is because of the RGB parts that are in there, the mouse now weighs 82 grams as opposed to 70, which actually over 10 grams is a noticeable difference when you put it in your hand.
Yeah, 69 grams it says on the, on the scale, and then the RGB is probably, like I said, 83 grams. So yeah. And obviously the cord adds a little bit of weight. So I mean, 10 grams is a good amount of weight. But I mean, I don't really mind 80 grams at all. That's not a big deal at all to me. So, because I main the FK2, and the FK2 is like 80, 90 grams or something like that.
Yeah,
so,
it's really not horrible.
Yeah.
Like it's just, I mean, it feels like your average sort of gaming mouse, you know? It's not like crazy lightweight like the Hot ES or anything like that, but it's just, you know, it's there, it's a mouse. So as far as the sensor goes, we're still rocking a Pixar PMW 3389 in this bad boy. And it feels good. It's super responsive, very nice. And you can actually adjust the liftoff distance as well within the software. By default, it's set to 2 millimeters, and you can update it to 3. Maybe if you're putting some of the Lexip mouse skates on there, you want a ceramic glide experience, you can do that as well. There's also on the bottom, there is a button where you can still adjust the pulling rate, going from 250 to 500 and 1,000. Again, I don't know why you would want to go under 1,000, but hey, you know, it's there. Yeah. The option's there.
There's no button to switch your DPI, which kind of sucks though, right?
Yeah, no DPI button necessarily. You can adjust it within the software that they've released as well, adjusting which button can control the DPI, so you can make the side buttons or what have you. But moving on to build quality and durability, one thing I really want to note is they do say it's like an anti-slip texture, so it's good for sweaty hands or just dry hands. Now, one thing I would say is this one has collected a plethora of fingerprints. I mean, there's a ton of fingerprints on this guy. Mm-hmm. It's like you're gonna have to be cleaning this guy like almost every day if you want it to look clean. Yeah,
exactly. So, I mean, it's basically the same texture that's on the old XM1. So yeah, like Lucas said, it's very, very anti-slip, and you definitely get a good grip on the mouse, but it leaves a lot of fingerprint marks, which I feel like they should change so that it doesn't leave as much like oil, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got some dirty ass hands, you know? So, but other than that, it's a great material.
Yeah, it feels, I mean, it's super grippy, and if you're not really concerned about other people seeing your mouse and be like, oh, it's kind of nasty, dude, like, then it doesn't really matter,
exactly.
You know?
Obviously, like we said at the beginning of the video, the XM1 RGB has RGB as compared to the old one, which does not have RGB. And I love the RGB on the XM1 RGB because the RGB on this mouse is underglow. You know what I'm saying? The underglow effect is one of my favorite effects that you can get from like RGB on a mouse. You know, I really don't like it when companies put it like right here, which I guess they do. but because like your hand covers it, but they make it up to you with underglow.
I think the smartest things that I've seen companies do with RGB when they do want to put it on there is either like Glorious did, where it's along the side, like Extrafy did, where it went sort of under the mouse buttons and then in front of the mouse.
Yeah.
And then of course the Skull and the Endgame XM1 RGB, where they did it on the bottom. They did an underglow, which looks sick.
Yes.
So
Good
I
job.
appreciate that.
Yes.
So if you're gonna have RGB, do it right, and they sure did on this one.
And they also have it on the scroll wheel as well. So if you want to have a little bit of RGB, you can see it there as well.
Extra speed.
All right, so wrapping things up, I love this mouse. It's incredible. I love the shape. The one thing I would change, or I guess two things I would change about this mouse is obviously the texture, because it leaves a lot of marks, and the scroll wheel is a little bit high for my taste. Like I fingertip grip, and my fingers are pretty much like right in the middle of the mouse, you know? So my finger kind of has to reach the scroll wheel, you know what I'm saying? Obviously it was made for claw grip users, so you're not really gonna have your fingers all the way down there, but just personal preference, I would have liked the scroll wheel a little bit more down on the mouse.
Yeah, for sure. As far as my opinion on this goes, remaining unbiased on here because I don't like the shape. It doesn't really work for my hand personally. However, I can see how it would be comfortable for a wider variety of people. And my distaste for the shape of it is just due to my shortcomings, as I'm not a claw grip user, and then I have larger hands, so it's just for finger tipping, it's just not as comfortable for me as I would like. However, the good things that I can say about it is I can tell this would feel really good if you were a claw grip user, if you got large hands, if you got medium hands. Even small hands could probably do it as well. Might be a little bit pushing it with smaller hands, but the main thing is the clicks are really nice. The skates have been improved. I mean, the cord's really nice. Everything about this mouse is just really perfection. Outside of just if it's not the right shape for you, it's not the right shape for you.
Exactly.
Which in my case, it just wasn't the right shape for me. And I really want to like this mouse, but just for me personally, it doesn't work.
So yeah, I mean, I love it, and Lucas, it's not really built for him. But anyways, that about concludes our review. If you guys want to get it, we'll leave a link in the description box. That's it. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next.
See you in the next one.